everyone, welcome to the third video in this series of 12 from Wonderful Wildflowers by Johanna Basford, where I am experimenting a little bit with some gel pens as well as pencils on these flowers. So let's have a look at our next candidate victim. Okay, we have a lot of green, obviously, as you can see as well as I can on this one. And I think I'm gonna have to do some outlining or something. And we have these little tufty flowers. Interesting. Now I think what I'm gonna do with the green, where I'm gonna start, so I'm gonna start with the pear green. Now this is my favorite green in this set of Artezas. Now you might think, well, it's your favorite, but that is a really long pencil. Yeah, you used to be able to buy open stock Arteza pencils in sets of 3. So I bought 3 of these because I really like them. And so I've got a few spares of this colour, but I haven't done that for any of the others. I'm not sure they do that anymore. I haven't looked, to be honest. I ought to, but I haven't. So no, so I haven't got any of the others, but yes, it's a nice colour. So I'm just filling it in. I'm not doing anything special, you can see, but we're going to try, I might add another colour in a bit on top, because there's a lot. I mean, it's very narrow, but there is a lot of, out the line she goes, a lot of green going on here. I can hear a strange noise, like a sort of motor fan, something like that. Don't know what it is. Oh well. Yeah, I've just been on hold on the phone for ages. I was just trying to, it was just a physiotherapy appointment for my husband. He's got a bit of tennis elbow, nothing serious, but it gives him a bit of pain. He'd just like to know what to do, you know. He mentioned it to the doc, and doc said, oh, get a physio appointment, it's been waiting ages. But it said it was like a one-off clinic, and I wasn't sure whether that meant it was a group thing or one-on-one, and they checked for me. And it's a one-on-one, because he wanted me to go with him, which is fine, but we thought if it was a group thing there might not be room for extra people, but no, it's a one-on-one. So she said I'm very welcome to go, which is good. He just likes someone to go with him. It's fine, I don't mind. It's a really nice little place. I've been there actually a few times now, the physiotherapy department. It's really modern. It's probably about a year old, maybe. It's lovely, you know, and everyone's really nice, as you would expect. I'm just trying to find my sharpener. I dumped it down. Here it is. So yeah, it's lovely. So that's at the end of the month of November. Adding in, it's November, but that's fine. And it's in our town as well, so it's pretty easy to get to. But yeah, but yeah, sorry, I've been zoned, as I said, I've been zoned out. I was there were 8 people in the queue. It's quite a lot, isn't it? But it was for the number was for the whole of the county though, so I suppose that's quite a lot. But yeah, as I say, it's a lovely department. And it'd be nice for him to just have a few exercises to do, just to loosen things up and help him a bit. Now we're going to use the moss green. What number is it? 616. Oh, there it is. Yeah, identifying them by number. At least the numbers are quite low on the pencil. Once I sharpen below the number, which I have on one of them, who knows what colour it is. It's a Russian roulette. Now, what I'm going to do with my moss is darken the tips. I'm not sure why, but why not? Like that, and then just sort of blend it, not blend it, fade it, sorry, off into the pear green. There's a lot of bits there, so it's hard to see. There we go. It just gives it a little bit of interest I mean, you don't have to do this. You can just keep it all one colour if you find that easier. But just as I say, I feel it just gives it a little bit more interest. Gives us a little bit more to do as well. You know, I want to show you something that isn't just plain colouring. But busy time of year. So if you haven't got time to do this bit, don't do it. Miss it out. But hopefully, even though it's a busy time of year for a lot of people, you're using this as a sort of slow down, calming, relaxing session. I hope so. I certainly am, that's for sure. Although I haven't got loads to do at the moment. I've got more planning and thinking to do than I have actual things at this stage. You know, I've been trying to... The tone of the noise has just changed. It confused me then. Very odd. I don't know what it is. I thought it might have just been, you know, like a little motor or something, but why would it suddenly change? Strange. Anyways. Never mind. Last little bit here. Yeah, I've got to plan what to give people for Christmas. I know in America you have your Thanksgiving as well, which would have passed by the time this video comes out actually. But that gives you even more planning and thinking to do. I don't think you do gifts though, do you, Thanksgiving? But anyway. Now this little bit up here that looks like it's holding our little fluffy flower. I'm having a think. I'm thinking I could just do it in the darker green. I think I might do. So this is our moss green. I'm just going to do this in a darker green. But what I'm going to do here, go around the edge, quite dark, a bit lighter in the centre. You could even put a swatch of a line of your pear green in the middle there. And then these just fading to the tip a little bit. There we go. And same with this one. Like that. Now I'm thinking hard about the colour, of these because they're so little. They need to make a big burst, a big statement. But I don't want to use the colours we've used already. So we've used purpley pink, we've used red and orange. I don't know if I've left myself anything really apart from blue. And I don't think blue goes with olive. So I think I might go for yellow with orange in it. Because I think this looks like it could be a little fluffy yellow flower. And yellow and olive, good friends. I always think, there we go. So let's have a look at the yellows that we have. I'd quite like to build up some layers of yellow. I'm not sure whether that's going to be very easy with the pencils. I'm going to give it a go, but we've obviously, in the previous videos, if you've seen them, we've been using pens and they'll help us a lot. So here's the sapphire yellow, really light layer here, just the sort of base coat sort of thing. Like that, really pale. Then I want some strokes because it looks like it's fluffy. I'm going to use the turmeric yellow, sharpen it really sharp. There we go. And just put some lines in here. Now, if you're not using pens, this could be your final little bit, you know, but I think I'm going to put some pens in here as well to create more of a obvious fluffy effect. Ooh, sun sneezing. Next door. Okay, I think now if I was doing just pencils here, I would use some yellow ochre and the camel brown. But because I'm going to get some pens in here, I don't think there's any point in me doing any more. So I'm going to find my swatch chart for my pens to start with. which is here. Now I'm going to choose my colours. So we can see here. So I've got yellow. So I'm going to grab the yellow packet, and we'll do all sorts of yellows in a bit. Got to find it. Where are you? Here it is. So we'll do that in a minute, but we also need something to go with the green. So I want something to go around the edge of the green to sort of fade it back a bit. We've got our bud green here, which is probably the closest green that we have. So I'll probably do that, unless we use this really pale green here. But I think the bud green or the melon green is quite pale. I might use that melon green from the sage green set. Let me find the sage green set. Right, okay, let's do the flowers first. So I can put that there so you can see it. Okay, so here's our yellow set, and I'm going to start with this jasmine yellow. It's very bright, isn't it? Which is the first one in the pack. Here, this one. Now I don't know whether it's going to show up very much, but what I'm going to do is eliminate these black lines. I don't want those. The pen decides it's going to be quite transparent, which is interesting. I'm just going to scribble it. Might be that it just needs a bit of a encouragement. Let's try it on this one. I do often find when I buy a set of gel pens that one of them or a few of them are sort of no good. I think this one is fine. It's just very pale and it's just a bit too transparent for what I'm trying to do, but which is fine. I'm just going to use it all the way along here, and then I'll put something else on top. But I haven't found there was any like this in this set. So the next one is the bright yellow. I think I'm not going to use that. I think I'm going to go for the third one, which is the moonlight yellow. And here I'm going to try putting some strands on and covering that at the same time. Oh, I can't see. I'm rubbish at seeing yellow, so I don't know if I can actually... There's any actually coming out. I think it's coming out on top of the pencil. It's just not covering the black at all. So I'm going to use the next one along, our ginkgo yellow. Whoops, the fourth one along. There we go. Lots of little tiny strokes. What I think I'm going to do is get a white to knock out that black. I think that's the easiest way to do it. There we go. So I do have a Languo white. So let's put these yellows away for now. Just got to find it in my box of goodies. Oh, here it is. Now this one is quite a lot thicker than the other pens, so I'm going to have to be a bit careful. But hopefully it will almost work like an eraser. And what I'm going to do is try and put a dotty effect on the edge, put some lines in it as well, so it adds to that look of fluffiness. Now if you think that's too much white, you can come back after with once it's dry with some more yellow. But I'm actually surprisingly liking it more than I thought I would. To start with I thought, ooh, but now I'm liking it. And also because our paper isn't white, it does stand out a little bit. Let's get rid of that black. There we go. Okay. Now our green. Now what was I going to use? I was going to use this melon green. So this is the sage green set and it's the first one. Hopefully it's going to cover it over. Let's see. Doesn't want to write at all. Come on, pen. There we go. Just had to get it going. Yeah, that's working lovely. Liking that a lot. Yeah, so now we're moving through the page. We need to think hard about the order that we're doing this pen so that we don't smudge it. Think about whether you're left-handed or right-handed, whether your hand naturally moves across from left to right or right to left, whether you naturally move from top to bottom or bottom to top, etc. I'm not going to do that one yet. I'm going to come back and do these bits. So I'm going to go from, I had to think hard then, left to right. My son says his driving instructor has now got some Scrabble tiles on his car with an L and an R, so that people know which is left and right when they're driving in the car, which is interesting. He said the instructor actually got it wrong once and told him to turn left, and then said, "You've gone the wrong way." And he said, "I went left." That's what you said. Or whatever. So maybe it's for his benefit, I'm not sure. Anyway, he's getting on very well with his instructor, which is good. I think it's really important, having someone who you get on with, who's going to boost your confidence, that sort of thing, But he is gaining in confidence, which is nice. He was saying, "Oh, I was chatting to these people on the train." I was like, wow. Normally he puts his head down and doesn't want to talk to anybody, And they were in a bit of a situation which I think people would talk about. So basically, there was a lot of flooding across a lot of train lines, which due to lots of heavy rain happens, And their train was swapping drivers at the station he got on at. Their driver went home, and the driver that was supposed to be taken over was stuck on a train somewhere else that was behind floodwater. I don't think they don't get stuck on the rails, luckily. They usually notice and stop at a station, they couldn't get out. So they were stuck, so they had to go and find them another driver, which took half an hour. Presumably, they either had to call someone to come in by car, because often the drivers travel by train to get to work. It does make sense, doesn't it? Or they may have just had to wait for a train to come in that had someone on. But apparently only a few trains were actually running. It was quite nasty. But so they were stood on this train chattering about, how bad it was. Not criticising the train drivers or anything. Obviously, it's not their fault. But just talking about how bad the weather was. And the train was so crowded because there'd been an event on in the place it had come from, and so they didn't have a seat, they were standing. I think that also sort of brings you together a little bit more, because it's harder to look down at your phone all the time when you're trying to balance and stand up. And the two people he was talking to both had bicycles, so they were creating a bit of a problem by blocking up more space and things like that. So they were just having a bit of a chat about it all. So that was good. I was really pleased to hear that he'd done that, because he does talk to people, but he's very shy and he likes a friend. He's interesting because he pushes himself out of his comfort zone to go and chat to people when he's doing something new, like a job or uni or whatever, because he needs someone to chat to. But it depends who he's talking. I think he's better with his peers when he's talking to adults. But he was chatting to these people on the train, so I was really pleased. But of course, he's an adult. He's 20, but he's getting past that stage, and he talks a lot now to me. I can't stop him talking. He's like me. He talks for a living. Not for a living. He does his Minecraft, so he's talking for hours. And it's interesting, we were talking about it the other day, because someone had said to him, you know, how do you talk for so long? And we were talking about it, how he said he can't explain what he's doing. See, I explain what I'm doing a little bit and then talk about colouring and things like that. He says he can't always explain what he's doing because he might be doing the same thing for 2 hours. In Minecraft, I don't know if you're familiar, but you sort of build things, hence the name craft. And so he might be, you have to get resources to build with. So he might be, let's say, digging up grass for 2 hours. And so he's got to find something to talk about. And he says he'll occasionally do some research. So if there's been some sort of event in the gaming world, or specifically in that game, then he'll find out lots of information so that he can talk about it knowledgeably to people. So he might do that, but otherwise he just sort of talks about all sorts of random things. But because he's live, he can use what his chat, people who are chatting to him, he can bounce off them, whereas I don't have that. So but I do sometimes think about comments and things that people have left me, and maybe work with that a little bit. But yes, he it was quite an interesting conversation. I was also saying to him, you know, would he become a teacher? I said, I like teaching, do you? You know, and he said, yeah. He said, I could do it. He said, it wouldn't be, he said, it isn't what I really want to do, but he said, I think I could do it. But not of like young kids, same with me, of older people. I'm no good with little kids. I don't, I like toddlers, they're very cute, but when it comes to like, just resting my hand a minute, when it comes to sort of anything between the age of 5 and sort of 18, I find it quite tricky. Disciplining and things like that is just not nice. Don't want to have to do that. But yeah, I've taught at uni, I've taught in colleges a little bit here and there. I enjoyed it. And it's a little bit scary, but I found that I got a little bit nervous, but not massively so. And then when I was done, I was buzzing, you know. I really liked it, but it's harder to do these days because I didn't have the right qualifications. I had the qualifications in the subject I was teaching, but I didn't have any teaching qualifications. And back then you didn't necessarily need them for adult teaching, but you do now. Right, now the yellow looks a bit lost to me. So right in the bottom, where the plant is very close to those little bits of leaf, I want it to be a little bit darker. So I'm just wondering whether to, I think I'm going to use a pencil. I'm not sure if this is going to be dark enough, but I'm going to give it a go. So I'm going to use the turmeric yellow that we used right at the beginning. Now, this is going to be very difficult for me to get my hands in the right position, but I'm going to put some strokes of turmeric yellow right down in the bottom there, just to make our flower slightly yellower. I think that's made quite the difference. I just managed to scrape off a bit of pen. There we go. So I'm going to leave that there. So there it is. There's our next one done. So I hope that was okay. It was a bit samey, that one, but that's just the way it was drawn. But I hope I made it a little bit more interesting and gave you something different to think about with that one with little dotty white bits. I like that. I mean, obviously, if we had a background, it would stand out a lot more, the white, but you know, it's just an idea for you. Anyway, thank you for watching today. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day and happy colouring.